Hey guys and gals, it's me George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man. And this is the lineup from this weekend. Gotta tell you a story. You saw those two lawnmowers that a friend of mine gave me last week that we got started. One is a weed eater and then the other one was a roper. And well, those kind of began our week for us. And then my son and I went to the scrap yard on Friday, and then we went to the dump afterwards. And when we were at the dump, we picked up this lawnmower right here. I haven't got it started yet, but on our way home from the dump, we saw a sign for a yard sale. So we went to the yard sale. Of course, the truck was full, and when we got to this yard sale, there was this Menards lawnmower sitting there in the free pile. So I said to the lady, I said, "Are you sure this is free?" And she said, "Yep, it's free. If you want it, take it." And then she looked at my truck, and of course I already had that Yard Machines lawnmower on top of the pile of the other scrap that we picked at the dump. And she said, do you do scrapping?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You wouldn't be interested in a riding mower, would you?" And I said, "Yeah, I might be." And she went and got her husband, and he took me down to the barn, and he said, "Would you be interested in that one?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Let me go home and unload my truck, and we'll come back and pick it up." Well, we came back and picked it up, and as you can see, this one here is a Yard King. Yep. And it is 20 horsepower, hydrostatic drive, V-twin. And yes, it does run. I will demonstrate that in a moment. And then he said to me, a friend of mine has a couple of refrigerators that he wants to get rid of. "Would you take refrigerators?" I said, "Well, I don't generally like to take them because the scrap yard doesn't pay for them. They'll accept them, but they don't pay for them." But then I thought, well, he's given me these two lawnmowers, so I'll do him a favor. So we unloaded the truck and went back and picked up this Yard King. And we went to his friend's house, which was just down the road about a mile or so. And we looked at the refrigerators. And while we're looking at the refrigerators, he saw this Yard King in the back of my truck, and he said, "You wouldn't be interested in another ride-on mower, would you?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Well, it's down in the barn." I said, "Can we take a look at it?" He said, "Sure." So we walked down in the barn, and here was this Murray. This Murray is a 14.5 horsepower overhead valve, and it runs. He hadn't run it. He said it hadn't been running in 10 years since he bought his new mower. And I got it home here. The key start doesn't work, but I jumped it directly to the starter and put a little gas in the gas tank, fired up, and it runs. And in front of it was a push mower. And I didn't get a good look at it because it was kind of dark in there. So when we went back today being Monday, he had pulled them out of the barn and had them sitting up front with the two refrigerators. And here he had this snapper. All I had seen was that the motor was sideways on it. Didn't see any brand, couldn't tell what it was. Let me take you over a little bit closer. This is kind of a neat old lawnmower. Let me lower you down here. I saw the motor was on sideways, and I had never seen one like that before. But he said this one was running 3 years ago, and I haven't tried starting it yet. So it looks pretty neat. All the parts are there for the self-propulsion, and I'm even thinking I have an extra set of dolly wheels. The way this deck is made, I could probably put a set of dolly wheels on the front of this. Have a neat mower that way. If you've never used a push mower with dolly wheels on it, you don't know what you're missing. It's a whole lot better than having to lift the front end every time you want to go around a corner. So yeah, both of the ride-on mowers have their decks with them. I haven't checked them over real carefully. They're not rusted or rotted out. I do know that the one for the Yard King is missing one wheel, and a couple of them had to be re-welded at one time, and who knows what else might be wrong with it. It's been sitting probably for 10 or 12 years, I guess, and it was fully attached when we went there. But that's our projects. My intention is to get these motors and these mowers running. You could tell that the tires on the Murray are in need of some help. They're all dry rotted, and obviously they've come off of the rim, and I can't get them even close to wanting to pump up again. I want to be able to roll it around the yard at least. But we're going to try and get these puppies going so they're running and drivable. And one of the things I'm contemplating is, especially with this 20 horsepower, that if I can get that running decently, it might become the power unit for either a snowblower on the front or perhaps for a snow plow. My son said it would be a whole lot better for me not to have to push a snowblower around. Of course, they are self-propelled. But I have to agree with him. I would much rather sit on a tractor and blow the snow in the yard or plow it out. But I thought you guys might like to see this. Lots more projects to go here now. And some pretty unique ones too. Oh, and for the Murray, I did tell you, didn't I, that it has a 14.5 horsepower motor? I'm thinking that that motor might end up on my old Ariens instead of the 10 horsepower that I'm going to rebuild. We shall see. Well, let me bring you back, and I'll start them up for you one at a time.